I'm about to turn 40 this summer, and I feel like I've only stepped into my prime now. I'm making money off my laptop, living on a beautiful island. I'm proud of my physique. I'm attracting beautiful women. But I think about like, if I lived my 20s like I did my 30s, I would be in a whole different place right now. Probably be a millionaire with a beautiful wife and kids. My life all settled, right? No regrets. You can't go back in the past, but I want to help you avoid the same mistakes by showing you in this video the 5 things I wish I knew in my 20s. Number 1 is going all in on what I actually love. I remember in high school, it's like near the end of high school, I already did an extra year because I was the type of person who wasn't in a rush. I enjoyed high school, I like to have fun. I remember a meeting with my guidance counselor trying to figure out my career path, like what should I study in college, you know? I like math, I like science. Not a big fan of like English and history. I love sports. And then we somehow, from that 15 to 20 minute meeting, decided my whole career path that I would study architecture. And I went into architecture. Just popping in to let you know, if you want to travel the world and get paid while you do it, make sure to download my free ebook below. It's in the description. Now let's get back into the video. And I did it, and I stuck with it for years. Became an architectural technician. I got another degree like in sustainable development and kind of stayed in school for like a decade getting these degrees. Nothing wrong with it, but it was just kind of a path that I was just chosen in a 15-minute meeting with my guidance counselor where I wasn't really clear on like what I want to do. And what I love to do is like be out in nature, make fires. Maybe I would have done better in like forestry or something like that, I don't know. But later I realized like people that come to college with this like 1 year, their first year is just like this general year for them to figure out which path they'll take. I'm like, I didn't know that existed. Something like that would have been cool. Like if you're not sure of your career path, I would take that year of college of like to figure it out. Then you could taste a few different classes and have a better idea of your whole career. So obviously I don't have any regrets because, you know, like that was part of my life. I had fun at the school. I did cool projects, architectural projects, and it just, even on the journey, I came across, basically this is a long story for another video, where my dad passed away from stomach esophagus cancer. I started learning about health and the body, and I came across the raw food lifestyle, raw vegan lifestyle, and I became so passionate about it because I changed my whole body, I changed my life, I changed how I feel, I lifted a mental cloud off my mind. I became passionate about it, and yeah, I got naturally involved in like the fruit festival. I met other people, YouTubers who were talking about this lifestyle, and I dabbled with content, but I never went like all in on that because I was kind of like finishing my architectural career and trying to figure that out. But I remember like really being passionate about that, and I'm like, why didn't I just do a career in that? I felt it calling me, right? And then I went on to teach English in Mallorca, nothing to do with my career path, nothing to do with my training, just for that freedom. And the second point is to start a business. If you're like me, then you value freedom. I always value freedom. I need to be free. And working for someone else never jived with me, never. Like all the jobs I've had, I'm always a good employee, but I never feel good in that role. I'm just like, I need a way out. I need a way to be free, you know? So unless like, after all the architectural days, I went as a freelancer, and I would freelance and work with architects doing projects because I couldn't imagine myself in a cubicle in an office, like working on one specific design all day. I don't know. My brother was telling me, why don't you just, you know, as a freelancer, why don't you start an official business? And I'm thinking in my head, because I have to know like how to do all the drawings, I have to know the engineering, I have to know how to like run the business, I have to know how to, you know, actually take the client's mind and put it into a design, and I have to know all these skills, and I have to understand HVAC and the systems of like electricity, and I felt like I have to know all this, and I was studying and like trying to learn as much as I can. But my brother's like, you don't have to know all this. To start a business, you delegate, you find the people who know those things, and all you're doing is running the business. And now that I'm almost 40 and I'm running this business, I'm pretty much at the start of this business here online, helping people make money online as coaches and content creators. The last 5 years, I've been working for others who are doing that. And I've been coaching for someone else who's making money online, teaching people how to make money online. And I was kind of like in his business instead of doing my own, which is great because I learned all the skills. But again, it's like in my 20s, when I was studying architecture, that was the time to run my business because I had no risk. I was living at my parents. I didn't need that much money. I already knew the skills. I was already connected to architects. I was already doing freelance projects. All I would have had to do is make that an official business and go all in on it because I had nothing to lose. I had no rent to pay. I didn't even have to buy food. So I should have did that in my 20s because I stayed home till like my mid-20s. at my parents, you know? So if you're living at your parents, this is the time to start a side hustle and go all in on that as much as you can. Develop those skills as much as you can. By the way, if you want to see how I've been helping clients for the past over 5 years set up their online business and actually scale their business as coaches, as content creators, getting clients making $5, $10, $20,000 a month online, check out my blueprint below. It's called the Freedom Travel Blueprint. It shows you the exact step of like how to create your offer, how to make content, how to market it to the right people, how to sell your offer, and how to find clients and coach your clients. So it's like the whole system broken down step by step in my Freedom Travel Blueprint, so you could coach people, make money online as a coach, as a content creator from your laptop while you're traveling the world. So you don't have to be stuck to a location. So check that out in the description. And now we carry on with the video. All right. The third thing is, I love this one. I love this one. Stay fresh. Stay fresh. What does that mean? So I always loved to style. Like I remember in high school, we had to wear uniforms. I hated uniforms. I would always I would put the sweater inside out, or I would like have a baggy shirt underneath sticking out, and the teachers would always give me trouble. Or I would like wear my white kicks instead of the black dress shoes. I'm all about the white kicks, fresh white kicks. I loved styling, right? Then when I went through my kind of like a spiritual revelation, hippie days, I was like, oh, style is not important. I let my hair grow long. It was kind of messy. My beard was all over the place. And I didn't put that much love in my style, and I wore baggy clothes even as an adult in my 20s. And I remember my sisters are like, you look so good when you wear like tighter clothes. I had a girlfriend, and I one time wore a sweater that was tighter, and she's like, that looks so good on you. I'm like, yeah, but this is the only time you're gonna see me in it. And I just went back to baggy clothes. I had no idea, but now I love being as fresh as possible, wearing good clothes, because not only do you like look good, but you feel good. You see yourself in the mirror, you're like, yeah, I'm fresh. Like these glasses, bro, I'm feeling them. Because staying fresh, not only do you feel good about yourself, but that exudes the confidence out into the external world, and people treat you differently too, because they see like you're someone who takes care of himself. You're someone who actually has his shit together, and that comes with physique too. Like training at the gym, I wish I kept that up in my 20s, because then you have a nice physique, then your shirts fit well on you. Girls notice that, you're more attractive, and people take you more professional. I remember when I hired my trainer a couple of years ago, and he came in the room, he had this, you know, his physique, he's a bodybuilder, he had this tight black shirt, and I'm just like, I had this respect for him right away. I didn't even know anything about him. He ended up being a cool dude, and we're homies, just like normal dude, but I had that professionalism for him because he was dressed fresh and he had his nice physique. That's how the world treats you, how you treat yourself. So the way you present yourself is how the world sees you. So you have a choice to put that out into the world. All right, that kind of ties to the fourth point, because what I would have done in my 20s different is bang girls on the first night. Yeah, you heard me. So dating, I was always so freaking shy, man. I was like shy. I would like this girl and I'd be like so shy. She's a cute girl. I remember like my girlfriend in high school, it was like a friend who introduced her to me. Like, hey, this is my friend. And then next thing you know, we started dating. But I was so shy to like approach girls and date girls really in my 20s. And then I remember, man, like I did some dating obviously, but it was kind of natural from friends groups, but never like me going after the girl I want. Never like on that level. Although I did date a beautiful girl in my 20s from my cross-country team. If you're watching, you know who you are. The point is that when I was 30, I remember this cute girl at the festival. I went to a festival and I walked her to her cabin, and she's all like, I'm here alone, yada yada. And I'm like, all right, good night. And I left. And I'm like, I don't want to rush things. Like, we'll meet tomorrow again and I'll have more time to build up to it, and then we can like kiss and it can go from there, right? That next day we did hang out, we did meet, and then next thing you know, she was with another guy later that night, and that chance kind of got lost forever. And I was like, I'm never ever gonna not make a move again when I feel it. Even if it's the first day, even if it's the first night. Because we'll go on a date and we think like, oh, we don't want to be aggressive to the girl, we don't want to scare her off, we don't want her to think like we're only about sex or something, right? So let's just wait for the second or third date. But now it's a rule, like I always go for the kiss on the first date. I don't care, as long as I'm into the girl. If I'm into the girl, I'll always go for the kiss on the first date. Because I remember the year following at the next festival, I was like, next time this happens with the girl, I'm going for it. And I met this cute girl, and then I was just like straight up like, fuck it, I have nothing to lose. Like, I think you're really cute, yada yada. She's like, I also think you're cute. Next thing you know, we're kissing under the stars. So, and then like every year, obviously I was dating the fruit girls in that time because I was waiting for the festival to do my dating. because I was like, they have to be on my vibe of like the fruits and the raw foods, which is not true anymore. But now I'm just like, I always go for the kiss, because the worst that can happen is a girl will turn her cheek and she'll still be flattered and she'll still be like, okay, he's confident. And then the next day you're kissing at the latest. Maybe the third date if she's really like, I just want to be proper, but like she's thinking about it, man. Even if she doesn't give it, she's thinking about it, unless she's not into you. But I feel like that's a rare amount of time. If she went on that date with you and you're into her, at least that's how I feel. She's probably into me too. So I'll always go for the kiss on the first date now. Because man, nothing to lose. You never know where it takes you. Now, this is the last point, and I think it's very important, and I would summarize it as like living life on my terms. Living life how I want and not giving a fuck about what everyone else thinks or what everyone else wants for me. Like everyone thinks they know what's best for Cuba. Everyone thinks they know what's best for you. Like in my 20s, that's kind of related to the architecture career. I kind of did it because I'm like, okay, this is the right path. The guidance counselor recommended it. My parents think it's secure. And I kind of just went with the motions and I stayed in it. And I'm the type of person who, when I commit to something, I do a good job. So I did a good job. I got honors, all that stuff. And really, if I lived life on my terms, I think like I would move out sooner when I was 20. So I stayed with my parents and I was kind of like, I moved out mid-20s for my master's. So I did do that, but I probably would move out sooner and just be like independent, like early in my 20s, because all my siblings did it and they went on to do their own life. And I was just kind of like fusing my life with my parents. Now, this is not anything against my parents or against your parents. It's like you can have a better relationship with your parents if you live life on your terms. You can visit them when you want. They can make you food. My parents were filling up my fridge when I was out on my own in another city, but I would do that sooner. But the point is like living life on my terms, doing what I want. Because if your parents or your friends or anyone else is influencing you and maybe being upset if you don't do what they want for you, right? There becomes tension and then you're just suppressing your own self and then you're slowing down your life. But if you just do it on your terms, like eventually if anyone loves you, they'll forgive you and they'll not forgive you, but they'll accept it and they'll go for you and they'll support you as long as you own it fully. And then you could be like, no, I'm doing this. This is what's right for me. And then they see that it is right for you because you're owning it, because you're doing it for a reason. There's many examples. Like I remember part of my master's degree, I was sustainable development, right? So like sustainable building and architecture. And I was like really passionate about natural building, like straw, hemp, clay, these natural materials to build houses. And I was studying that, but I was also like, I want to do this college program to actually build a house with this stuff. And I remember my parents thinking like, what, are you gonna be like a bricklayer? Are you gonna be a construction worker after doing all this university? But I'm like, no, the bigger picture, like I'm using this as part of my study, as part of my master's thesis, where I'm actually like researching these people building these natural houses and seeing like their perspective, where they're coming from, how they're changing the world with these healthy buildings. And I couldn't get my parents really to see it, and I went for it. And then like one day I had a talk with my dad and I explained it. He's like, oh, now I understand. And then he explained to my mom. But if I didn't own it, then it wouldn't have happened and I would have like suppressed my true nature. So thankfully I was my mid-20s, but I would have done that from the onset of my 20s, just like go for what I want, live life on my terms. All right, hopefully that is insightful. See you in the next video. Much love.